Good evening. This is Akashvani and I am Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the World News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds talks with Sri Lankan President, assures rescue and relief support to continue under Operation Sagar Bandhu. India records a 32% decline in HIV infections and a 69% fall in AIDS-related deaths. Death toll from Indonesia's floods and landslides rises above 600. South Africa dismisses US threat to exclude Pretoria from next year's G20 summit in Florida. And in hockey, India beat Namibia 13-0 in the opening match of the Women's FIH Junior World Cup in Chile. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today held a telephonic conversation with the President of Sri Lanka, Anura Kumara Dissanayake, and assured him India's continued support to Sri Lanka under the ongoing Operation Sagar Bandhu in providing rescue and relief to distressed persons. It comes as New Delhi handed over 53 tons of relief materials to cyclone-hit Sri Lanka so far. We have a report.
During the conversation with the President of Sri Lanka, Anura Kumara Dissanayake today, Prime Minister Narendra Modi assured him India's continued support to Sri Lanka under the ongoing Operation Sagar Bandhu in providing rescue and relief to distressed persons. Mr. Modi assured that India, in line with its vision Mahasagar and its established position as the first responder, will continue to extend all necessary assistance in the coming days as Sri Lanka undertakes rehabilitation efforts, resumes public services and works toward restoring livelihoods across the impacted regions. In coordination with the Sri Lankan authorities, 2 Indian Navy ships handed over 9.5 tons of emergency rations in Colombo following Cyclone Ditwa, while 3 Indian Air Force aircraft have also been deployed to airlift another 31.5 tons of relief materials, including tents, tarpaulins, blanket, hygiene kits, ready-to-eat food items, medicines and surgical equipment. Sakleen Akhtar for World News.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today expressed concern over the health of Bangladesh's former Prime Minister Begum Khalida Zia and extended his prayers and wishes for a speedy recovery. In a social media post, Mr. Modi said the former Bangladesh Prime Minister has contributed to the country's public life for many years. Prime Minister Modi added that India stands ready to extend all possible support in whatever way it can. A Dhaka court today sentenced former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and her sister Sheikh Rihanna and Rihanna's daughter and British MP Tulip Siddiq to varying jail terms in a case linked to the alleged misuse of power in securing a 10-katha government plot in the capital's Purvachal area. Sheikh Hasina received 5 years imprisonment in the Purvachal plot case. Her sister Sheikh Rihanna was awarded 7 years, while Tulip Siddiq was sentenced to 2 years in jail. The court also imposed a Taka 1 lakh fine on each of the 3 with a default penalty of 6 months imprisonment. In addition, 14 other accused were sentenced to 5 years imprisonment each and fined as part of the same verdict. Union Health and Family Welfare Minister J.P. Nadda today highlighted that India recorded a 32% decline in new HIV infections and a 69% reduction in AIDS-related deaths. Mr. Nadda was addressing the commemoration of World AIDS Day in New Delhi.
The death related to AIDS has been reduced to 69% and the global reduction is 37%. India has declined 69%. I am happy to share that the individuals who are aware about HIV in India, we have reached 85% and we have to go to 95%. Treatment coverage is 88% and the suppression load is 97%. So if we go with this momentum, certainly we will be able to capture 95 target.
This is Akashvani. You're listening to World News. We bring you the top international news and updates from around the globe. In Indonesia, the death toll from the devastating floods and landslides triggered by cyclonic rains has now climbed to 600 mark, with rescue workers are still battling to reach affected areas. And the 500 people remain missing, while thousands more have been injured. The government's disaster agency said the floods caused by a rare cyclone over the Malacca Strait have hit 3 provinces and impacted some 1.4 million people. The provinces of Aceh, North Sumatra and West Sumatra have been hardest hit, with thousands still cut off without critical supplies. In Pakistan, 2 people were killed after a landslide struck a coal mine in Sauranj area of Quetta. Local media reported today that workers were inside the mine when a mass of earth collapsed, burying them under the rubble. The chief mines inspector has ordered the sealing of the mine and launched an inquiry into the incident. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has dismissed US President Donald Trump's threat to exclude Pretoria from next year's G20 summit, reaffirming South Africa's status as a founding member of the group. In a State of the Nation address yesterday, his US counterparts repeated claims that South Africa is committing genocide against Afrikaners as blatant misinformation.
We must make it clear that South Africa is one of the founding members of the G20, and South Africa is therefore a member of the G20 in its own name and right. We will continue to participate as a full, active and constructive member of the G20. Despite the challenges and misunderstandings that have arisen between South Africa and the United States, South Africa remains a firm and unwavering friend of the American people.
Washington boycotted the Group of 20 Leaders Summit held under South Africa's presidency in Johannesburg last month, with President Trump repeating allegations widely discredited that the host country's black majority government prosecutes its white minority. Russia has condemned the remarks by NATO's top military officer after he suggested the alliance could consider preemptive strikes as a defensive action against Moscow. Talking to media recently, Admiral Giuseppe Cavo-Dragon has said that the NATO was exploring ways to strengthen its response to hybrid warfare from Russia, noting that a preemptive strike could be viewed as a defensive action. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova sharply criticized these comments, calling them an extremely irresponsible step, indicating the alliance's readiness to continue moving towards escalation. 3 people were killed and another 40 injured, including 11 in serious condition, in a Russian missile attack in Dnipro in central Ukraine, Ukrainian officials said today. Ukraine's emergency services reported that car service stations, several businesses, an office building, and 49 vehicles were damaged in the strike. There was no immediate comment from Russia on the attack. In Cameroon, the top opposition leader Anicet Ekane has died after weeks of detention at the age of 74. Ekane was arrested in late October alongside other top figures of his African Movement for New Independence and Democracy Party as protests rattled the country over allegations of fraud in the presidential election. Around 150 delegates representing 21 nations are set to gather at Rio de Janeiro from today to December 4th for a major meeting aimed at strengthening the involvement of civil society from the Global South in international governance processes. The gathering will be held at Armazém da Utopia, located in the heart of Rio, and has been described by organizers as a milestone moment. This marks the first official initiative of the newly formed BRICS People's Civil Council, as well as a final large-scale activity during Brazil's current term as the head of the BRICS group. The intention is to establish a continuous and structured channel of communication between social actors and the official BRICS leadership. In the Women's FIH Hockey Junior World Cup 2025, India kicked off the campaign with a commanding 13-0 victory over Namibia in Santiago, Chile this evening. The team led by Jyoti Singh is drawn in Pool C along with Germany, Ireland and Namibia. Germany registered a 7-1 win over Ireland in the first match of the pool earlier today. And now, before we close, here are the highlights of the bulletin. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds talks with Sri Lankan President, assures rescue and relief support to continue under Operation Sagar Bandhu. India records 32% decline in HIV infections and a 69% fall in AIDS-related deaths. Death toll from Indonesia's floods and landslides rises above 600. South Africa dismisses US threat to exclude Pretoria from next year's G20 summit in Florida. And in hockey, India beat Namibia 13-0 in the opening match of the Women's FIA Junior World Cup in Chile. And that concludes tonight's World News Bulletin. For more updates, stay tuned to Akashvani. Good night.